Flex Lewis was born with a winner's attitude, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind he was going to succeed well at what path he chose to follow, breeding and selling finches to having his own furniture removals business. There was a fire inside the young Welshman, which ran hand in hand with his passion for sports. The question that his family was waiting to hear answered: was it rugby or bodybuilding? Everyone who follows the current day success of Flex Lewis now has the opportunity to learn what made him so hungry for the Olympia title, by going back to the very beginning of his journey, told through the words of those closest to him. Thursday, September the 15th, 2011, at the Olympia Bodybuilding contest in Las Vegas. As the gates prepared to open, Flex Lewis, alongside many other athletes, were getting ready for the Super Bowl of bodybuilding to explode. Training for this competition didn't take a few weeks. It took a lifetime. The best of the best come to do battle once a year for the most prestigious title in bodybuilding history. With the gates opening and the crowds flurrying in, and despite being enormously tired in the run-up to his weigh-in, Flex does what any great athlete would do. On arrival, and a huge part of any bodybuilder's working day, is to provide time and energy towards meeting the public. Flex Lewis has always prided himself on spending time greeting and talking to his fans, and more than often compliments their support as a huge part of his success. For the sports fans that have not witnessed the entirety of the Olympia contest, to understand its popularity would be impossible. For Flex Lewis, it's the Premier League of events, and just like any other major sport, brings in a huge following of worldwide interest.
I've been a fan of Flex Lewis for the last couple of years, and I think it's going to be awesome this year. Obviously, the 202 showdown's going to be pretty tough. Got some tough competitors in there.
I am Doug. Flew in from Canada just to watch Mr. Flex Lewis tackle the 202s. May have finished runner-up to Jose at the New York Pro, but I think all that did was spark a little more out of Flex.
Big fans of Flex, but we've never been able to see him compete. We came last year, so I got to speak to him last year, and I said to him we came, and he decided to take the year off. So.
This particular event for Flex, however, held a very personal reason behind its importance. For such an accomplished athlete, so early on in his competitive years, Flex's Olympia dreams of holding the 2011 202 title come stronger with the support of his family. For the first time in his professional bodybuilding career, and after a long-running battle with cancer, for which she overcome and conquered, Flex's mom made the journey to Las Vegas to watch her son compete against the best athletes in the world.
He loves his fans. He's very much a bodybuilding fan still. He likes to be able to sort of get to know his fans on a personal basis. You know, he's very much a personal type of person. And I think people see that when they see his charisma on stage as well. He's one of those people who get excited by crowd, and you know, he likes to sort of, his routines are obviously there for many, many reasons, for personal reasons for him and his family, but also for fans as well. He very much interacts with everybody, and as you said, rightly so, that, you know, he has got a big fan base. He was definitely one of the last pros standing with a big queue at the end of it.
Tired and exhausted from a day of meaningful interaction, Flex is helped into a car for a ride back to his hotel. However, although the Olympia is closing down until tomorrow, the onslaught of calorie counting up until his weigh-in in the morning continues. Tonight for Flex, it's work as usual. As the 2011 Olympia unfolds, so does the history of one of the world's greatest bodybuilders. The Welsh Valleys are home to a number of unrivaled sceneries, and for those who have never visited, will not expect the relaxing environments its countryside has to offer. However, despite the calm presence and small communities, Wales is also home to some of the world's most successful athletes. On the 15th of November 1983, the Welsh dragon Stephen James Lewis was born. Yet his first breath of life began with concern rather than happiness.
We nearly lost him when he was born. 6 weeks after he was born, he was rushed back into hospital and he wasn't thriving. And we reckon he never had any fat cells after that, because he came very strong, very, very strong, wasn't he?
Hello everybody.
And tell him what your name is, because he's just started the film off. What's your name?
Stephen Dale Lewis.
And how old are you today?
Strong-willed to survive, and he didn't keep still for a minute after it.
I think I wanted to be a fireman. I always wanted to help people for whatever reason going through school, get involved in something like that, and sort of fireman then started standing out to me.
And what became apparent to his family more than anything else was how natural he was at sports, taking part in a number of different activities, including gymnastics and hurdles. Flex was no doubt attracted to the world of physical fitness and excelled in anything he set his eyes on. When something seems too difficult to achieve, the majority tend to give up. Yet when Flex was not able to do a handstand during his gymnastics days, there was nothing going to stop him, and nothing did.
So for 6 months, he walked on his hands in the house until he could open the doors with his feet.
A big part of the Welsh tradition is their love for rugby, and being such a keen athlete, Flex became a very successful player amongst all his other pastimes. It was then that he started to develop a promising future and quickly progressed, achieving many different awards and honours.
Right, tumble!
We always used to just play football, rugby, and I was always the youngest. And then if these two would come back, I'd stay out and play, but I'd still be the youngest there. So sometimes a few of them would either steal my ball or something like that. I'd be really young. Next thing I'd come back, say, oh, so-and-so stole my ball. He'd be straight up there, get boys by the scruff and stuff. Fighting, whatever, I come back with the ball.
Witnessing the pure hardness of rugby, you would think injuries came often. Yet for Flex, although being told to stay out of trouble when he was training with the Welsh under-16 rugby team, a possible career-ending accident came off the field when boys were being boys on motorbikes.
He'd been on with his mates, little scramblers on scrambling bikes on the wasteland, and he dislocated his elbow. And it was really bad there. I thought, oh God.
What may have seemed tragic to Flex's promising rugby career was really a blessing in disguise, as when it was time to rebuild his strength, he found his interest in weight training. Just like many kids, Flex's interest in muscle and size didn't come from a family member, but characters such as Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior.
There's nothing that sort of stands out at a young age, other than me growing up with the films such as Arnold, and I remember wrestling, watching Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man and Hulk Hogan and all these guys, and there was obviously some sort of appeal then, but there was nobody around me that's sort of like an uncle or a cousin that was bodybuilding or weight training.
Well, first of all, right, let's get it straight. He was doing a bit of weights in the house, unknown to us. He was hiding the weights under his bed.
It's my sister's fault.
Right?
Although his interest in weight training became more serious, it wasn't bodybuilding that caught Flex's eye straight away. In the year he competed as a powerlifter between the ages of 17 to 18 years old, he broke a Welsh and British record. His parents were never too impressed with the powerlifting, and when watching Flex at the Welsh Championships, could never understand why he was so keen to go down that particular road. But this all changed when they witnessed his first ever bodybuilding show in 2003.
the opportunities for myself to go into the armed forces. I passed out all the tests whilst I was in college. Doors opened for me in that field. Unfortunately for me, I got flat feet. So I passed all the physical tests. And when I went into the last test, which is the doctor test, due to my flat feet, I wasn't allowed in. So it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, because I probably would have ended up in some sort of military field, whether it be in the Royal Air Force or the Army, and I had options to go in and actually play rugby for the forces. So my path is, in that regard, opened wide open there. You know, bodybuilding was something that I could do solely on my own. Just like I've done track and field, if you're a fast guy, you know, there's nobody, you don't have a team member, such as on a rugby field or a soccer field, that can make you look good, you know, set you up for goals and stuff. If you're doing bodybuilding, it's a soul thing. You're up there on stage. If you're in condition, you're in condition. When I first started bodybuilding, I knew that was the sport for me. It was something I loved to do. And once I found out there was a sport, then I sort of put more emphasis into my bodybuilding. And even though I played rugby at a high standard, I sort of slowly started weaning myself away from rugby.
Without an income, Flex knew that he was unable to support his training and decided from a very young age to become an entrepreneur. Aside his sporting interests, breeding and selling finches, which soon progressed onto parrots, were just two of his successful businesses that allowed him to carry on bodybuilding.
That's my bike!
From my point of view, perspective, obviously I'm a rugby man, and obviously I wanted him to go as far as he could as a rugby player. But obviously, if he chose bodybuilding, we'd get 100% behind him, as if he chose any sport, you know.
We never thought growing up that he'd be doing what he's doing now. We thought probably if we asked the question back then, would he be a bodybuilder rugby player? He'd probably say rugby. Yeah. He'd never say that he'd be where he is now.
Friday in Las Vegas, and Flex Lewis made his way back to the venue for the most important part of his upcoming show, the weigh-in. Coming in on the mark defines whether or not Flex will make it into the 202 class without any problems. And so far his preparation has been immaculate, and any worries have been irrelevant up to this particular moment. Walking into the event, the man who Flex considers his brother and mentor just as much as his boss, Rich Gaspari, devotes his time to make sure his athlete and friend is relaxed and ready to make history. It's moments like these when, for a split second in time, nothing seems worth worrying about.
I know you're gonna do this.
As Flex made his way to the backstage area, ready for the weigh-in, the Olympia Expo was already kicking off, putting on a variety of entertainment for the general public to enjoy. If you're serious about muscle and enjoy the pleasure of being in the company of the world's most established brands and athletes, you would not get a better place to do so than the Olympia Bodybuilding Show in Las Vegas. While the event was in full swing, Flex still had work to do. On his mind from the day he landed in Vegas was the weigh-in. Despite Neil being confident with Flex's weight, it was the scales that had the final say. Any small amount over the 202-pound limit would shatter Flex's dreams of becoming the 2011 champion.
199.4. Challenging Kevin English for that title, Flex Lewis.
The job was done, and the show continued with a 2-pound breather. Flex was now coming in at the top of the 202 weight class, and without doubt brought with him a reason to take the title from the current champion, Kevin English. When it comes to pre-war preparation, there is little time to hide away from the event itself. As the day drew on, it was time for Flex to head away from the venue to take on some pre-contest routines with his nutritionist, Neil Hill. Through the crowds and towards the doors, as usual, Flex could not separate himself from the expo. Always allowing time for interaction is just as important to Flex as preparing for the showdown. When he stands on stage, his fans, friends and family are right there with him. Being undoubtedly one of the favourites to win the 2011 Olympia, Flex had a lot of pressure to get everything right before the show. People who don't know may assume it's all in the gym, but living the life of a bodybuilder is much more demanding than just pumping iron. Every step needs to be precise, from his training to his nutrition, from his mental state to his rest time.
Oh yeah, it's always fun.
Crazy.
You guys in that contest?
He is, the gentleman in front is.
Man, look at all that work you did on them legs, man. Good shit. Hey, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Before heading back to the hotel, there was one thing on the Flex Lewis team's agenda, and that was to visit the stage that could possibly change Flex's life in less than 24 hours' time. Imagining the atmosphere was easy. However, Neil Hill knew that this show meant more to Flex than anyone could ever imagine.
I'm actually getting quite emotional just looking at the stage and trying to sort of imagine what it must be like for an athlete to stand on the stage with 4,500 people looking at you with the name Joey, just Mr. Olympia behind you, and it's like, and I'm just standing here as, you know, as a person, not an athlete. So.
To his brothers, bodybuilding didn't seem strange in any way, despite the fact that they knew nothing about it. If anything, they assumed getting bigger was a natural progression for Flex as he got older.
Showing all these books and the Annie, what's the DVD called? Pumping Iron with Annie and stuff. So we were just bombarded with stuff. It seemed to come in a big wave.
Yeah,
so
I think it was a bit weird because it just seemed to happen so quickly.
Yeah, it
didn't
just happened like that. It just came.
Especially our first show that we went to as well. We didn't really know what to expect.
It was at the Mr. Wells show in 2003 that IFBB pro Neil Hill noticed Flex's physique was holding qualities from that of a veteran pro. He was amazed by the junior's potential.
And I'd heard of a couple of really good juniors who were going to be competing in that show on that particular day. And like you kind of hear, you know, sometimes you sort of get a bit of an anticlimax sometimes because you hear good things about certain athletes and then you see them and it's kind of like, you kind of build this image up and it's not always what it portrays, or you portray it in your head. And Flex walked on stage and I was completely sort of blown away really, because I couldn't believe that this young kid who'd never competed before, and I still didn't even know that he was actually one of the juniors who I was, you know, told about, had so much charisma and so much confidence, yet at the same time, his kind of actions sort of spoke, you know, louder than words in a sense.
From the success of that show, Neil approached Flex and asked if he was going to compete 4 weeks after at the Junior Mr. Britain. Flex wasn't sure whether he was experienced enough to take on that challenge, but was assured by Neil he was more than good enough to compete and win if he made a few changes in the short time he had.
You can't really put it into words. It's like once every 10 years, 20 years, or whatever it is, something magic comes out from all sports. You could say the Tiger Woods, or you could say a David Beckham, you know, you could say, you know, Hollywood movie stars, you know, or whatever it is, but somebody all of a sudden just comes out from nowhere and this kind of seed is there, and you know that once you put this seed into the ground and you water it and sunlight hits it, you know it's going to grow into something beautiful, it's going to grow into something very spectacular, something different. And that's what I saw with Flex on that, you know, on that second week in September 2003.
Neil sort of give me, as he does to this very same day, give me the most complimentary words, yet critically harsh words that you need to hear. Now, anybody can give you compliments. I could go to the gym now and train and get compliments all day long, but the people I got around me are very critical. So if I get a compliment or you're on, you know, you are where you need to be, then I know them words are not being said, they're being meant.
Flex walked onto the stage and won the EFBB Junior Mr. Britain 4 weeks after the two met, and from that progressed a great partnership between himself and Neil, who as a team went on to win multiple titles, including 6 victories in 2004, including the NABBA Mr. Universe.
Press those there.
Yeah, zoom out, right.
The one at the front is forward, the one
yeah.
in the might be big.
Focus.
Kind of came really quickly, to be honest with you, and I don't think it came quicker than I expected, but some things did happen quicker than I expected. When I saw him walk on stage for the first time in that first show, I saw the fact that this kid could be one of the greatest all-time bodybuilders, of all time. No, we're not just talking about, in the UK or Europe. We're talking about, stateside. We're on about sort of world recognition.
In third place, representing the United Kingdom, Jonathan Hughes. In second place, representing South Africa, Gerard Redwell. And the winner of this year's NABBA Universe Juniors Contest, representing UK Wales, James Flex Lewis.
Yeah, and obviously our experiences, and as time went on, that friendship has turned into, much more than friendship. As I said, he's very much a big part of my family, and my wife and my kids adore him. We will obviously love him for who he is, whether he's winning shows or whether he doesn't compete again. It's Flex as a person, which really is the most important thing, and not necessarily the trophies that he gathers along the way, in a sense.
Soon after winning the Junior Universe, Flex was shocked when one of Britain's longest-running kids' TV programmes, Blue Peter, asked him to come on the show. To Flex's knowledge, it was unheard of for a bodybuilder to have ever taken part in anything the same or even similar in the past.
Now, I have to ask, James, how did you get this big?
Basically, it's other than the training. I eat 6 to 7 meals a day and rest and sleep, and I don't eat.
He came into my house, and the very, very first thing he did after I actually introduced him to my wife was pick up, my eldest boy, who at the time was probably about 4 years of age. And it was just the way that he actually acted and interacted with my children at that time. I saw the fact that besides this great potential, I saw a very loving, caring human being that I didn't expect to see at such a young age. And that kind of kind of sort of warmed me a little bit. I saw the fact that he kind of had good sort of family morals and came from a good home and background. Not that I'm actually sort of looking at other people who maybe don't have that kind of relationship or those type of things which go on in their lives, but we bonded kind of really quick. And I kind of felt also a little bit responsible, I guess, for his career. Because sometimes, you know, you have a number of roads and it's very easy to divert and go on the wrong road and not stay down the right road. And we kind of like, yeah, we kind of hit it off straight away.
Hi. We just ordered a taxi a few minutes ago from
Saturday, and it was time for Flex to make his way to pre-judging, part of the show where a select number of athletes get chosen to do battle for the 202 title later that evening. This wasn't just an important day for Flex himself, it was also the first time his mother was going to see him perform and compete on a professional stage. This was a huge moment for the Lewis family. In Flex's eyes, the battle his mum went through to be here was much harder than what he now had to face ahead of him.
We're off to pre-judging now.
How you feeling?
About an hour. It's timing. It's timing.
Yeah. It's timing, isn't it?
I know what's timing. Hi, Ange.
Okay.
You would think to compete not just for title glory, but also for the people you love would add more pressure as he had made his way to the stage. However, for Flex, this just boosted his energy towards making his appearance that more remarkable.
Flex.
The show was over, and the moment in life that we all think of as spectacular for Angela Lewis will become a cherished memory. Things were now looking promising for the outcome, and excitement was high. For Neil Hill, pre-judging was just the start, but with such a positive showing, there seemed to be no worries when it came to Flex Lewis's 2011 Olympia future.
You're so and these guys. He's actually been pretty much my mentor. Yeah. Oh, these two are amazing, and himself.
I'm shaking. My jaw
You should have seen your mum and dad and Flex and Angie's faces when you were up there. Yeah. Oh man, they were buzzing. They were like buzzing. I'm looking forward to seeing his mum, watching him on stage as a pro for the first time. I know it's been spoken about many times on this video or the DVD that he's producing at the moment, but you know, like I said, this is the driving force for him to win this show, was his mum and the fight that she had to go through, because he realizes that the fight that he has to go through to win this title is not as big as the fight that his mum had to go through to battle not just breast cancer one, but a number of times, but more importantly, all the operations she had. So there's going to be a lot of, you know, character and strength and personality and love going on tonight with his routine. So I'm looking forward to it.
What's up, buddy? You like the big flags? You see the flags? Mom brought two huge wild flags.
For now, the battle had ceased, and it was time to eat, rest and sleep before the big show. In the eyes of ones closest to him, the day was perfect, and there was nothing he could have done any better.
We both knew that Flex's structure and his sort of his gracefulness of his body, the way that he's put together, that was his assets. We've always known that from day one, from the very first day we started working together. You know, and this prep has been it's been perfect. It's been so, you know, it's been so good. It's not been stressful. It's been everything what competing should be all about. It's been a very, very enjoyable journey. And today, I've got to be honest, I don't think anybody could be more proud than me for what I saw on stage today.
In 2006, after winning the Mr. Wales under 90 kg and overall title, Flex competed at the UK BFF Mr. Britain for his class and pro card.
Dry, doesn't he? It
does look dry.
Really dry.
Really dry.
The fella up now in the over 80s,
squeeze that chest.
He's very simple,
Squeeze.
and he's really dry.
Good. Good.
As he has more his pause.
Look that tricep now, look that tricep. Show it. Good. Good, Flex. Brilliant.
Judging down the black.
I got two pairs.
They're nice. Where'd you get them from?
They're yours.
I know they are.
Where do you get them from?
That's your Grand Prix, is it?
Huh?
Yes.
Grand Prix, them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I kept them in this bag because they're lucky.
Lucky, see?
You know what I'm like, a superstition.
Yeah.
So you can have the CD with your pet.
Flex was still young and had a lot of time to progress his career into the professional ranks. Yet for someone so competitive, he wanted results sooner rather than later. Flex was ready to bring the unexpected, and alongside Neil Hill, made every possible addition to his posing routine and physique in order to make the delivery perfect.
This is a man there, this is the future. That's the future right there.
Last-minute preparations have been and still are just as important to Neil and Flex as anything they have done up until a particular moment. The slightest nutritional addition could aid them towards title glory. At such a young age, the mentality and confidence of Flex Lewis was above and beyond professional from start to finish. Everything relied on Flex's ability to bring it to the stage. As for his family, anticipation was high.
Thank you, James.
The 2006 British final pre-judging was complete, and Flex's results hung in the balance.
With the men's light heavyweight class, 90 kilo class, and we welcome on stage again an outstanding series of competitors. James Flex Lewis.
truly believed, and I still believe this, you know, myself today, that, you know, that he's going to win the Mr. Olympia. I've got no doubts about it. And I'm not one for giving people false hope or false impressions of what they can achieve on the stage or off the stage. I just say how I see. And I wouldn't say just because I've been involved with the sport for so long that I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying what I see with my own eyes.
He was one of them people that was a straight shooter, and he sort of said, you can go really far in this sport. I remember being 19 years old and being told this, and things started to sort of set in where the game plan for the next show was set, and then I sort of done the whole next route of shows, going up to winning everything as an under 21, to winning the junior under 21 universe, and I think that was the sort of turning point for me, is when I won the universe, because then I had interest from the States that wanted me to come over and do photo shoots and stuff like this.
Your runner-up, Bodybuilding and your winner and light heavyweight champion, Flex.
He went on to win multiple Welsh titles, British titles. We had some amazing experiences abroad. He went on to win the European Championships as a junior. Went on to win the Universe, which at the time was like, I suppose, like for most people, like you say the Universe, it's kind of one of the pinnacle events or shows that really kind of gives you some kind of credibility, I guess, within the sport. He went on to win that show. And he went on to win that very, very comfortably. And then he decided that he was going to go straight in as a Mr. We'd spoken about the fact, I knew that he was good enough to compete as a Mr, but he could have quite easily gone from a junior straight into the intermediate class. And we spoke and we kind of thought, you know, you're good enough to go into the Mr class. It kind of ups your profile. It will allow you as an athlete to be more hungry, you know, to be even better, because you know that you're actually going up against, you know, a high caliber of competitor. And the progression happened, and it snowballed, and he went into his first year as a Mr. competitor, literally, you know, still with, you know, sort of junior sort of years in him, and he went on to win his first Welsh title as a Mr. competitor, went on to win the overall. And he went into the British Championships that year, and he actually came a very, very second place in the overall. He went on to win the light heavyweight class and went on to be a very close second in that overall decision against Troy Brown, and Flex and him still keep in touch today, which is great, because it kind of tells you the fact that you meet people along the way and you're kind of in a sport and surroundings which are kind of different to other sports, and you kind of bond, and that's one thing that as high level competitors you kind of respect the fact that you all go through the same thing. And that's one thing with Flex that he's kind of always sort of respected his fellow competitors, from high level ranking pros to amateurs to, you know, to the very juniors and up above, for instance.
To present it with a trophy from Steve Riddick and Paula Birkinshaw, our overall champion is Troy Brown!
The 2006 British Finals was a successful time for Flex Lewis, as he managed to stand, compete and beat far more experienced athletes. And while being happy and content with his class win, didn't change how hungry he was for the pro card. Flex was now preparing himself for 2007.
I don't want to sit there for an hour.
You what, sorry?
Look at all these fans. Oh, shit.
Drop you off a park.
Yeah, we have, that's the only way, bro.
You could open the trunk there.
Now Flex is close to the biggest challenge of his life. It's rare that you could understand what impact it is having on the athlete's mind. Leading into the 202 showdown, things were calm and positive. Yet no matter how well things had gone throughout his preparation, there's no judging what would happen when it came to the moment of truth.
Being in the States, because I don't have the chance to come back sometimes, my parents haven't told me some of the things that are going on back home because they don't want to worry me, which bugs the crap out of me. But my mother, when she started getting sick, they didn't sort of tell me the extent of what was going on. And even though I was phoning back home, you know, asking everything's okay, you know, whatever else, I knew there was something all right. Neil that called me and said, you need to speak to your parents. And he was the one that sort of broke it to me because nobody could tell me really. I think everybody was told not to tell me anything. My mother is a fighter and she knew she was going to pull through it, but the fact is now looking back, she tries to do too much on her own when I could have come back home to do things and stuff like that and kept my prep going.
Everything about this year was about his mum and his family. Everything about this year was for him to get through emotionally negative things. Everything about this year was for him to prove that he is one of the best 202 athletes in the world. And more importantly, he wanted to prove that he was the best 202 Mr. Olympia. Everything just kind of felt good. Everything just sort of fell into place. And with his mum and dad there, and knowing that he was, you know, in the shape of his life, it kind of felt like it was the right time.
Our next finalist comes to us from the United Kingdom. Please welcome competitor number 10, James Flex Lewis.
Never give in, never give in, never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
The Welsh Dragon 2011.
Let's hear it for Flex Lewis.
Nottingham, England, 2007, and Flex Lewis was back and ready to fight for the chance to win his pro card for the second time. Alongside Neil Hill, Flex made his way to the arena, ready to face all the pressure placed on him in the run-up to this event. After 1 year of training, it was time to show anyone who believed he couldn't make the changes needed to take the overall wrong.
Flex's personality straight away bonded and sort of made friendship with his sort of the athletes that he kind of looked up and inspired to be, but it kind of made him more hungry, I guess, to want to be like these athletes and be kind of in those surroundings where the Mecca at the time was there, for instance, in California. And I think that really made him look at the bigger picture. It wasn't the fact that he just wanted to be a bodybuilder or win shows or be a professional bodybuilder. He wanted to go to the States and kind of live the dream and live that type of atmosphere, lifestyle, or whatever it may be, for instance, and he looked at the bigger picture. And that was a huge, huge driver force, because I'll never forget, he came home and he said to me, I want a piece of that. That's what I want. It's not just the titles, but I want to be and experience the same things that these other people get to experience.
Your runner-up, James Llewellyn, and your winner, and 2007 light heavyweight champion, James Lewis. And a bottle of champagne from Gold's Gym, and the winner and overall 2007 UK BFF champion, James Lewis.
Winning your pro card is a big leap for any bodybuilder. It allows them to compete for bigger prizes and to begin making more of a secure life from the sport, depending on whether they are good enough to cut it against the world's best. For Flex, taking the title in 2007 was a dream come true, and at such a young age, still had time to develop what was already a phenomenal physique.
Good man, done the job. Pro ranks. That's the moment in time. Shine on that one there.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning and just come out here to collect my thoughts and can't sleep, wound up, to be an understatement to say I'm a mixture of emotions, but yet it doesn't feel it's sunk in. And, I go through this every show, every time I've won, and it's a weird feeling. I mean, I just can't sleep, but again, it doesn't kick in till a few days' time. It's one of my many goals is to turn pro before I was in my mid-20s. I set that when I was 15, and again, I've said that since I was a young kid. Again, I didn't really know what turning pro meant. I've come from a long road of being a 15-year-old naive bodybuilder to being on stage tonight. The transition has certainly been a long transition, but would I regret it? No.
That's ridiculous. All right, folks, here we go. In Olympia tradition, if I can have Flex Lewis and Kevin English in the center spot, please. I will now read the winner of the 202 showdown. Please take the first place award, the check for $12,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the title of 2011 202 showdown winner. To our winner tonight, Kevin English.
It was surreal, actually, even living in that moment. I told myself, this is the show, you've really got to sort of process as much as you can. And I've had the tendency in the past to sort of just go into a show with blinkers on and ignore the win, start focusing on the next show straight away, or focusing on something like the photo shoots without sort of absorbing the whole process, if that makes sense.
Obviously, it's the Mr. Olympia, and he wanted to prove to the bodybuilding world that he's like one of the best. He is the best in the 202, and he wanted to put a statement down to all bodybuilders. But I think in itself, our mother being there, seeing him for the first time competing as a pro, that was a big deal. Really, it was a big thing for him.
Just to tell you a little about this guy, Flex. Almost every day into my prep, this guy texts me to see how I was feeling, you know, let me know he's thinking about me, and if there's anything that I need, he's there for me. So that this shows that outside of bodybuilding, this guy's a totally stand-up individual.
I went to the show, obviously, I trained to win, and this was a whole new mindset for myself. I had to really be confident for the first time I ever know I was gonna win the show. I had to have that mindset. I changed my whole mindset. Not that I've ever gone into a show thinking, you know, but I had the what ifs. Every single day when I woke up, I was excited to do cardio. I was excited to go and train. It was one day closer to my goal of lifting that title up. I dreamt of lifting that title up on that stage yesterday. Am I upset with my decision? Yeah, when I walked off stage I was upset, but I spoke to the people I needed to speak to, and it's water off a duck's back. No, there's nothing I can do. The title's in Kevin's hands. He is the champion, and I'd like to thank and congratulate Phil Heath. He pulled me aside, guys, after walking out, and I was in that state that I just told you about. And he told me the feelings he had when he placed second to Jay. And he can relate more than anything. So without getting emotional, this guy is a true Mr. Olympia right here, because he put his arm over me with all his medals and his trophies in his hand. Just to rub it in.
Very, very comforting. No, I'm sorry, that's my Sandow sticking out. Let me move that for you. Yeah, don't worry about it, kid. Yeah, hold this for me.
But he basically gave me a heart-to-heart, and I won't say what was said, but basically he was saying, you know, I know what you go through, let it motivate you, and come back next year a bigger and better Flex Lewis, and that's my plan, guys. So again, guys, thank you so much, and I really appreciate all the vocal support, so please bring it back next year when I'm bigger and better. Thank you so much.
When people say, oh, you got time in your hands, I hate that cliche. To me, it means nothing. I was standing against guys who were 10 years my senior, but you know, when we're up on that stage, I want people to sort of look as there is an age difference.
When Flex Lewis stepped onto the pro scene as a young, determined bodybuilder, full of life and energy, his success was quick, and what some may spend years trying to achieve, Flex did in such a short space of time. Understanding and accepting second place was quickly come by, and although Flex was disappointed, what he achieved at the 2011 Olympia was nothing less than astonishing. To know that the best is yet to come from the young athlete brings a very exciting future.
I mean, Flex is gonna be #1 very soon, and I just wish him all the best of luck, and just, you know, you gotta move on and just, you know, head up, chin up, and looking forward, and you know, thinking for the next year, and trying to come better and defeat him.
Just go by and wait.
A lot of people that feel that Flex should have walked away with that show, and that's going to put him in a positioning with the fan base, and it's going to give him more exposure because there was some controversy in there. I mean, Kevin English is a great athlete. He's won it 3 times now, but you're going to have a lot of people that are going to gain actually fans of Flex because he's the underdog. I ran that underdog mentality for a lot of years, and it helps you train harder, it helps you come back with stronger and say, I'm going to prove something. So Flex needs to just keep plugging away. He's doing a great job. His body's coming into its own, his age, he's only going to get better, and time and consistency, dedication, perseverance is what's going to bring him to the top, and eventually he will own that 212 now Mr. Olympia title.
Get over there, Mr. Animation. Hey, but I agree. Listen, you beat me on that. 1-1. You gave me.
We felt that this was his year, and you know, it's disappointing, but he's taken it and he's going to spin it, you know, and use that as motivation for this upcoming season. You know, the 212 class is going to be good for him. Won't have to cut down as much, and you know, have that real full look, real big look on stage.
There's a lot of people in life in general will want to put you down, whether it's because of their own insecurities or they just generally don't want to see people succeed. And you just got to wean them negative people out of your life. I'm very blessed to have great people around me that encourage me, daily, as I do encourage them. And that's the same thing with my fans. You know, there's points in your life where you're going to hit a brick wall, whether it's in bodybuilding, whether it's in the work environment, whether it's in life in general. But it's how you adapt and overcome them things is what going to make you a champion or a better person. Adapt and overcome. I never give up on my dreams.
After winning his pro card in 2007, Flex Lewis had earned the right to stand amongst the best. And despite the fact that he was practically living in the States already, it was now set in stone that this was to be his new home, and part of the journey was to leave behind his family, friends, and life in Wales.
So it was a big chapter, and that kind of proved to his critics and worldwide, because he started to get, you know, a lot of exposure then from the States, that the fact that this young man had the potential to be something special and bring, I would say, the new breed of the UK over to the States and compete with the big guys.
At the time, a lot of people tried to sort of talk me out of it and try and stay in the UK and try and do bodybuilding from that point, but I knew that the days of what Dorian Yates used to be able to do and train in Birmingham, go over, win shows and come back have long gone.
Flex went to the States. I don't know if it was fate, I don't know if I believe in fate, but Flex had some pictures taken at the British Championships when he was a junior, the first British Championships he went to, and we met, or Flex met a photographer by the name of Jeff Collins, and Jeff was a huge reason I think that Flex actually kind of got stateside recognition, because I briefly spoke to Jeff backstage and I said to Jeff, you know, have a look at this young junior. I said, who's doing the show? I said, he's going to be something special. And I remember Jeff saying, Neil, no disrespect, but I've kind of seen the best, you know, in the world. You know, show me what he's like. And when Flex stripped off, Jeff was like, how old is this kid? Like, I mean, look at his legs, look at his calves, look at his proportions. And how old is he?
Neil from stage one was always harsh but fair with Flex, while at the same time never let him forget how far he could go in the sport. Yet he did have an alternative view on his move to the States so early in his career.
What I would say is that there's pluses and minuses on both fields, because I didn't really want Flex to sort of move to the States when he did. I kind of felt at the time he needed a bit more stability. It wasn't the fact that he didn't have it, but you know, he didn't have the financial backing behind him to run the risk of going over there and trying to make it. You know, his mother and father are, you know, extremely hard-working people. So it was the fact that I wasn't trying to hold him back for the wrong reasons, but I was trying to hold him back, saying, look, give it another 6 months, you know, earn some money. But he was very determined, he knew what he wanted to do.
Flex knew that moving to the States was vital towards the progression of his professional bodybuilding dreams, and despite leaving his life behind, knew that it was the right move to make.
It was weird. Quiet. It was, yeah, it was. It's quiet. It's quiet. But I think it was hard, really, at the start to just get used to him not being there, really, because he's always there, and he's always been like. When we were younger, like we said, he's a lead. Like if we were like a kind of pack kind of thing, he was always leading us. Yeah. But him not being there, it was a bit weird, really, at the start. But it's just we had to think about it as a family that if he wanted to progress, that's where he needed to be. So it wasn't for us to complain or anything. We needed him to be there if he wanted to make it in the sport. He needed to be there. So that was something that we had to think about.
It's him as a person, it's his personality that he's trying to bring out on stage, and I think that even though he's doing this sport for himself, he also is doing this sport for his parents. I think he's doing it because he wants his mum to be proud of him, and his mum and dad, they've been so positive through all of his career. Huge part of his success on stage.
Since he was 19 years old, Flex started his own furniture removals business, and basing the success of that venture on his ability to survive in the States, showed that he had just as much potential for offstage success as he did on it. With multiple certificates in physical fitness alongside 2 Young Businessmen of the Year awards, Flex had all the skills and attitudes needed to start a new life for himself in America. When Flex left the UK, his journey went with him as he battled to make a name for himself on international soil. When others may have assumed things were given to the young athlete on a silver platter, the true story would tell us just like any great adventure, progressing and achieving come at a cost.
When Flex got signed with Gaspari, that was a big turning point, for Flex's career as well, because now he had a major supplement company behind him.
This show, we have Flex in the house. Everybody, join us and welcome to Flex to Team Gaspari, guys. Let me hear some noise for Flex.
People think that Flex went to America and he was kind of spoon-fed. That is not the case whatsoever.
Come on, Flex.
Really, America is the best place for them in terms of maximizing their income and I think being appreciated for what they have. Because what Flex has it's a gift, it's a talent, and I think you need to take it as far as you can.
And even though I was telling myself I'm good, now looking back at the mess, I should never have done the show.
To our runner-up this evening, Flex.
Again, I've been very blessed to see a lot of the world, and again, them fans that I meet on these tours, then when they turn up at the Olympia, of course, are all rooting for me.
Stop filming us.
Crew, film it.
Look at the
I've made a plan.